Hi, my name is Shelly Taylor, and I'm here to talk about the study that I just completed on physical activity. I have been teaching physical education for 28 years now, so it was easy for me to decide on what to do. My research questions were: how does physical activity during school hours affect middle school students' classroom behavior? How does physical activity impact students' engagement in the classroom? And then what time of day, how many minutes, how often, and what type of physical activity is best to implement into schools to get the most positive results. The method of the study was mixed methods. The quantitative part, participants filled out surveys on their mood before and after each of their physical activity sessions, but in the end, I decided not to use this data. The core teachers completed the surveys daily on the students' classroom behavior and engagement. They also were asked 3 yes/no questions about their perception of the study. And then administrator surveys were not sent out due to lack of time. The qualitative part, I actually interviewed the teachers and asked the why or why not of the 3 yes/no questions. The fun part is the findings of the study, teachers' feedback from daily surveys. The 6th graders improved on 4 out of the 8 questions about behaviors. They followed rules of the classroom, they followed directions from the teacher, they got along with others, and they were not a distraction. However, our 7th graders improved on all 8 questions. They improved on the 4 just mentioned, and then they also participated in a positive way. They completed assignments, they asked questions, and they also answered questions. This is a table that shows the comparison of the data. The surveys were sent out to the teachers before the study even started, and we used the same survey for during the study. And so I averaged each of the 8 questions, and the score of 0 means they did not improve in that behavior, and a score of 1 means they did improve in that behavior. On the 3 yes/no questions, do you believe the extra physical activity has improved your participants' classroom behavior and engagement? And do you believe or think that the students' mood has changed in a positive way because of the extra physical activity that they were involved in? Both of these questions came up with the same results of 85.71% said yes and 14.29% said no. The last question was, would you be willing to implement a physical activity with or without an academic component into your classroom if the students' on-task behaviors increased? And 100% of them said yes. The more exciting part, I thought, was that all of our teachers were totally on board with the physical activity study. Some of their thoughts that they actually told me, they said that participants were actually calmer, they were more on task, stayed in their seats, more engaged, answered and asked more questions, completed more assignments, had a more positive attitude in class, they took on class roles, and that physical activity even changed their brain state. Conclusions. The pandemic and the lack of time due to late IRB approvals caused me to have to make some changes. I had to reduce the study to 2 weeks. I had to change the types of physical activities. The number of participants were lower than I expected. The participants' mood surveys were not used, and then the administrator surveys were not sent out. And, parents were very hesitant on allowing their students to participate because of the pandemic. So therefore, I had a low number of 5. And at this particular school, there was an issue of the student attendance, and my participants were not very consistent. And also, I actually lost one of my participants and 3 teachers after the first week of the study due to they had to be quarantined. Other conclusions, I believe the perceptions of me, the researcher, could be considered solid because of my experience of 28 years in physical education, and also I taught these participants. And then the last conclusion, even during a pandemic, the positive findings and results can help with administrators handling less office referrals and teachers with better classroom management, therefore creating a positive learning environment for all students. My recommendations for future research. The study needs to be longer than 2 weeks. I think the study should also consist of different physical activities, such as like a circuit training involving upper and lower body exercises that creates more intensity rather than both activities being sports. If using an online survey tool, make sure to investigate and find one that has all the upgraded functions, or actually pay for the upgrade. I think this will help you analyze your data a lot easier. And then the last one, don't do a study during pandemic. It was a struggle at times, but it ended up great. And I just want to say thank you to all of my professors at Drew University. You guys rock, and you've made my experience a great one. Thank you.